So what I'm hearing is there's a way in which you're wanting to show up in the world where you are standing in alignment with the things that you find meaningful and valuable and important.
Yeah.
And you're noticing in yourself the desire you have for support. And that when you encounter people on the outside who actually have a critique or a different way of seeing it or a different preference, that it hits some of your self-esteem a little bit. It deflates you, it takes you down. And then your way of coping with that is to think, well, maybe I need to just keep things to myself or do it by myself, or I'm the only one who can get that. I think I see what you're pointing to a little bit. You're noticing a very human mammal thing, right? That I think many of us have, which is we sort of want to find a sense of belonging and a sense of safety and a sense of sameness and a sense of like affirmation. We want to find it's a very tribal part of us. Yes, I'm like you. Yes, I see it like you. There's a deep need that we have for shared humanity and shared reality, and we're trying to find our ground that way. And I would encourage us not to see that as something wrong with it. These are deep needs we have for coherence, for cohesiveness, for, interdependence. It's built on a sense of shared reality. So I wouldn't be too quick to see those as faults or weaknesses that we have. And domination systems, we will then be trained. What I heard you say is, well, I'll just do it for myself. That is a very like radical, independent defense that doesn't work. So I acknowledge it. I hear it. It lives in me too. And I want to name it and say, let that one go. A better way, I think, this is my opinion, a better way for us to hold it is for us in every moment to get grounded in what is it that I am needing? What is it that I am wanting? And how can I ask for what I want in a way that invites other people to meet me there if it's aligned with them, releases them from meeting me there if it's not aligned for them. So if I'm in a group after presenting, and I will tell you this happens to me a lot. So this is one I happen to know because I've learned this. I will ask for what was good about what I did. I would like to know what resonated with you. I would like to know what spoke to you. I would like to know what was useful to you. I ask for what I need. I already have critiqued everything that I've done in my mind. I
Mhm.
am already on every potential flaw with what I just delivered. I don't need that from the outside. I work overtime on that on the inside. What I need from the outside is other people helping me see what was effective, what worked, where was their resonance, because then I know what to build on.
Mm.
If I ask people, well, what did you think? I am opening up a wide, anything can come my way. And the fact is, I don't really want to know what everybody thinks. Okay. I want the kind of feedback that is going to help me stay in a learning and growth frame where I'm constantly improving and figuring out how to do it better. Absolutely. But what helps me with that is knowing what worked. So, one thing I want to offer you, Carol, is really making a commitment to asking for what you want, not thinking that, and that stands in stark contrast to, well, I'll just do it for myself. And it's a thing I have to just give myself. And maybe there's something wrong with me wanting this thing. No, work with it, and ask for what you want. Whose opinion matters to me? I can't let every other human in this world's opinion matter to me.
Right.
I need to get more selective around whose opinion is going to carry weight with me.
Yeah.
If I believe that my well-being and my goodness on the planet is dependent on everyone thinking good things about me, I'm setting myself up for a lot of suffering because it's impossible. So I want to figure out whose opinion matters to me, whose opinion matters. And I'm going to choose those people based on whether or not they are living in alignment with the values and the principles that I believe in. My standard for whether I feel good about myself or not is not dependent on what other people think about me. It is dependent on whether or not I am living into the things that I say I believe in and stand in. What do I stand for? What do I believe in? What do I want my life energy on this planet to serve? And then Who are the people who I think have a similar mission? Those people's opinion matters to me because we're pulling for the same principles. We're pulling for the same values. We have a shared mission and we can help each other do that. And so if they say, I think you're a little off course, that's valuable to me because they're in it with me and I trust where they're coming from and I trust their intentions. I cannot give that kind of power to every person that I meet because they might be judging me according to things that I don't believe in or want to stand for. I have had 3 separate conversations, deep, meaningful conversations with 3 people who have been telling me that they are wondering about what they would die for. That has not happened in many, like in the years in the past. This is not what comes up in therapy. Okay. People don't typically show up for therapy or for coaching or for consulting to discuss existential questions like, what would I die for? 3 separate people have had that conversation with me in recent history. I think we are living in times where we are sorting out, when there's not a lot of safety on the outside of us, how do we find integrity and courage inside of us? What are we going to be courageous for? And what are we not called to be courageous for? And that is a deeply personal question for each of us. And I think you are asking a version of that. And so I think we're also being asked, like, one thing we can sit with ourselves is, what do I do with my fears? When I'm scared, what do I do with my fears? And we can have a lot of gentleness and compassion for ourselves and others, that our nervous systems will try to protect us. And what do? Do we go into freeze? Do we go into flight? Do we move into fight? Do we fawn? Do we try to fix? Right? The 5 F's. And then it's really, really important not to see any of those as bad. Any one of those might be the appropriate response, but I'm still going to see them as a self-protective, defensive response in the face of my fear. And I'm going to make complete peace with that. And I'm going to keep working on my witnessing self to regulate, to soothe, to reassure, to work with myself gently. But there's another call here, which is, what do I stand for? What do I love? What do I love? What do I serve? What am I willing to be courageous for? That is a qualitatively different question than, how do I keep myself safe when I'm scared? And they both matter. I'm not vilifying either one of those. These are the energies we're working with. And you can see the ways in which other people's disapproval or advice giving or critique sort of hits your gut a little bit. You lose confidence, you go into self-doubt. And so that is your practice ground right now. And you're stepping into it. You're noticing it, you're naming it, you're bringing it here, you're talking about it. That's your practice. And I say you're in it and you're doing it. So let's know this together, Carol. You are wanting to name out truths.
Yeah.
And so can you stand in that practice? And when somebody else tells you that's not a truth, trust yourself to do 2 things. Examine whether or not that's true, because many of us might be believing things that are not true. Like, are we willing to examine the things we believe, test it, investigate it, wonder whether or not we have been brainwashed into something? Like, are we willing to question everything in the search for what is true, not for the search for a comfortable ideology, but looking for what's true? Are we willing to question it? And when we are confident that we are standing in a truth, are we willing to own it, say it without aggression? Truth radiates. It's not to be weaponized, at least in the work that I'm doing. These are my values. Again, you all decide what you want to do with your values, but that's how I would see that. We don't weaponize it. We trust in the power of it being a truth, and we name it, we claim it, we state it, we own it, we radiate it. And but the caveat is, when we're claiming a truth, especially in the times we're living in, Be willing to be wrong. Be willing to update a belief. Be willing to let go of something you thought was true. But make, like I don't know how we do this. I think we're very much in the grapple of this. At least I'll speak for myself. I feel like I'm very much in the grapple of this. You test everything, you question everything. And then when you know something to be true, your whole body will know it. And then you trust that, especially when lots of people around you are trying to tell you that what you know is not what you know. I think we were living in a time when there is massive distortion happening. So we go slowly and we go gently and we go carefully and with humility and care. But watch the ways in which you were telling me earlier, you go into self-doubt. And again, I think we're in a time of very fine, nuanced, complex discernment. I don't want to collapse into self-doubt, but I also don't want to lose my ability to reflect upon myself and notice where I might get it wrong. The fact that I am willing to update my beliefs will build my confidence, not my insecurity. But it's not the kind of bravado that I just know everything and I'm going to impose it on everybody else. So we're looking at very fine lines in our psyche, in our ways of being. I like to believe that my little human ego can, keep growing and learning and adapting, and I can work with her and I can work with my defensive systems and I'm willing to have the courage to let go of old beliefs. And if I can keep my North Star on, okay, well, what is true? What is loving? What is courageous? What works for all people? How do we meet universal human needs? How do I expand my circle of care to include all people? What is the goodness trying to emerge? How do we open our hearts while interrupting violence without becoming part of the violence, while protecting the vulnerable and not just, collapsing into helplessness? But the way in which we do that needs to represent a fundamental shift from the status quo. And how it's going to show up in each of our lives is different. And how it's showing up in your life is, I want to be able to speak up at a rally. I want to be able to trust myself. And I want to develop the internal fortitude that I don't go collapse into too much self-doubt and avoidance when other people don't like it.